the revenue needed to break even in 2 years also goes down by 50% again to just 8 to 10 lakhs. And the benefits? Well, you're looking at a saving of 5 lakhs in rent per month. You save 19 lakhs in rental deposits, 10 lakhs in working capital, which eventually results into the best part. That is, 10 lakh rupees less is needed as a monthly revenue to break even in 2 years. And this is the insane cost benefit that a cloud kitchen has over a conventional restaurant. And here's where most people underestimate the power of digital marketing. People, instead of investing into infrastructure heavily, even if a fraction of that money, in this case, even if 1 lakh rupees is rotated in marketing, it is more than enough to drive insane amount of traffic to the cloud kitchen. And on paper, what looks like 2 years can even be achieved in 1 year. A standing example of the same is Rebel Foods. Now, this is a company that owns Fasu's and Bhero's Biryani. And you know what? Both these brands individually bring in about 16 to 17 crores worth of business per month. And they have about 300 cloud kitchens across 35 cities in the country. Best part, all of this was done in less than 10 years from 2011 to 2020. And here's where Zomato kitchens come in. And all these brands like Fasu's, Bhero's, Good Bowl, Box 8, they're all using Zomato or Swiggy to sell their dishes, right? Well, in that case, if you see, Fasu's and Zomato, Bhero's and Zomato share the exact same relationship as June Oven and Amazon. So just like Amazon had sellers' data and knew everything about what worked for June and what did not, Zomato knows exactly which Bhero's cloud kitchen is doing well and which is not. Just like Amazon had customer data and knew exactly what is the purchase power of the audience and who wants to buy an oven, Zomato knows exactly who is more inclined to buy a sandwich, who is more inclined to buy a roll, and who is more inclined to buy a biryani. And most importantly, just like Amazon had the superpower of digital real estate to enlist its products on top, Zomato can particularly open up its own cloud kitchen and list its products at top with an aggressive pricing model and undercut its own bestsellers like Bhero's and Fasu's. And the best part is, instead of being so evil, Zomato and Swiggy are doing it more ethically now, which is where ventures like Zomato Kitchen and Swiggy Access come into play. Zomato Kitchen is this wonderful partnership between Zomato and a bunch of hand-picked brands across the country, wherein Zomato uses its superpower of data and chooses the most profitable location in a particular area. And then, based on what works best in that location, certain brands are chosen. And Zomato will provide them with everything, starting from raw material to kitchen infrastructure. And this kitchen will have multiple sellers from specific categories. And this space will be shared by all the cloud kitchens together, which will maximize their profits and will optimize their cost. And what most people do not know is that this concept is a profit machine, because this system will then go on to give rise to something called Super Cloud Kitchen, which will be so efficient that in just 2000 square feet space, that is in the space of just one restaurant, a cloud kitchen can accommodate more than 50 brands and process more than 3000 orders a day. A standing example of the same is a Dubai-based startup called Keto, which has these super cloud kitchens that can accommodate 40 to 70 brands in just 2000 square feet and can process 3000 plus orders in a day. Cherry on the cake, Keto plans to go fully automated and will run these super cloud kitchens without human intervention by next year. If this is very clear to you, now let's have a look at the economics of the cloud kitchen in India and see where does Zomato have its gold mine. This is what the economics of a conventional cloud kitchen in India today looks like. We've got three kinds of costs. Raw material is about 40%, commissions to the aggregator, that is Zomato, plus logistics is about 25%, fixed cost like wages and energy is about 25%, and profit is very less at just 10%. And most people look at this thin margin of just about 10% and then jump to a conclusion that it's not profitable enough and the fact that it's not viable enough for Zomato. Well, that's because they don't realize that this is a super inefficient model, because cloud kitchen is still at the baby stage in India. And just 3 to 4 years down the line, this is what it's going to look like. Even if I use Kitopi's trajectory and use that as a reference for what it has achieved by January 2019, here's what the figures look like. Raw material expenses is just about 20%. Fixed cost, which includes labor cost, order processing, production overhead and sales discount, accounts for about 21%. Brand royalty is about 7%. Commission to the aggregator is about 28%, and this makes the profit stand at 16%. And here's where the X factor comes in, because the fun fact is Kitopi is also a middleman, which is why in case of Zomato the profits will shoot up. Why? Because Zomato does not have to pay aggregator commission, because Zomato is the aggregator. And in case of raw materials, Zomato is already building a robust supply chain with something called Hyper-Pure. And this is a supply chain that will connect the cloud kitchen directly with the source, which will bring down the cost of the raw material further from 28% to even less than 25%. And now if you look at the figures, you will see that Zomato's commission alone stands at 44%, even if you neglect the margins from Hyper-Pure. And with a healthy 10% commission on delivery, we are still looking at a 34% profit. And if you follow Kitopi's trajectory, this profit margin could easily go above 50% in the next 10 years. So in short, by 2025, looking at Kitopi's numbers, the same 200 rupees role where Zomato is incurring a loss of 20 to 30 rupees, it will eventually go on to give a profit of 50 to 100 rupees. And this point is where Zomato and Swiggy will both go on to become super profitable businesses with super profitable cloud kitchens across the country. And my sense is Zomato is raising these $1 billion to transition to this next curve of cloud kitchen. So now the question is, should you invest into Zomato or not? Well, I don't want to tell you anything specifically for the IPO, but whenever you look forward to investing into Zomato or similar companies, please remember these important lessons. Lesson number 1, always remember, as much as people are obsessed with numbers and the math, it is important for you to understand that more than numbers, it is the story behind those numbers that is important. In this case, there are so many people out there on the internet itself who are so engrossed into fundamental analysis and the present numbers of the company that they've completely lost sight of the fact that we are living in the 21st century, wherein the next disruption is less than 3 years away. And we as ordinary people, while we are looking at the present and the next 2 years of the company, the investors like the Sequoia Capital are looking at a 10-year trajectory. And as soon as we start putting ourselves into their shoes and look at a 10-year trajectory, it will help us better understand these companies. Eventually, it will give us more clarity for our investment. Lesson number 2, if you want to find these trajectories, the best way would be to do some extensive research about companies all across the world and find out those companies which are already in the next curve. In this case, if you see, an understanding of how Kitopi is operating gave us a very good understanding of how Zomato will be operating. And that is how you can derive some very valuable insights about what's going to happen in the future. And last and most importantly, keep a close eye on how Zomato and Swiggy keep pivoting to the next curve, because these kind of transition periods have got some very, very valuable business lessons to teach to each one of us. And always remember, once a great man said that innovation always happens in the next curve, and those who look for it will end up owning the future. In this case, it is a rise of the next generation food tech startups, and Zomato's IPO will mark the beginning of this revolution in India. That's all from my side for today, guys. If you learned something valuable, please make sure to hit the like button in order to make YouTube Baba happy. And for more such insightful business and political case studies, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you next week. Bye bye.